You do anything out here, man. Rob, steal, whatever it really comes down to.
Now, when I start feeling dope sick, all consequences go out the window. I don't care if you're an old lady. I don't care if you're a young boy. Who the fuck you are. If you got what I need to get well at that very moment, I have no morals, no consequences, no regrets.
You're afraid to take what they give you. Often, it will be an opioid medication.
There's no question that our best, strongest pain medicines are the opioids.
Less than 1% of patients taking opioids actually become addicted.
The rate of addiction amongst pain patients who are treated by doctors is much less than 1%. They don't wear out, they go on working, they do not have serious medical side effects. And so these drugs, which I repeat are our best, strongest pain medications, should be used much more than they are for patients in pain.
Man, these niggas had 2 pair of households talking that gangster shit, man. My mom, Jesus, nigga. I seen her walk on water paying them bills. Yeah, I could tell you about the roaches on the wall. Nothing in the fridge at all. No energy for bars. So hungry, probably fall. In the sink, I'm washing drawers. Problems up to me to solve. Still screaming, free my dogs. I got my gun, they make it home. I see a note, eviction notice paper. Take it down before it's noticed by the nosy neighbors. Some people say that life a game, I'm not the one to play with. I feel offended up to 2 and give your ass a facelift. My young niggas moving out like they from over Haiti. My man fronted, tables turned, but I'ma keep it playing. New faces being evaluated. Most favors, they end up calculated. I mowed the lawn and seen familiar faces. I chopped their heads and prayed their graves are spacious. Been through so much and seen so much, and I just kept on praying. Before I'm leaving out the crib, I gotta tie my laces. Cause Philly, just like GTA, ain't trying to waste it.
Like that. These people gave me 120 Oxy 80s every 2 weeks. They told me, the doctor said, they're non-addicting, you don't withdraw from them, you don't get sick from them, they're the new magical pain pill. I'd never taken opiates or nothing before that, so I'm like, okay, well, let me try one because my leg is dying right now.
You can't even go to the clinic, you can't go to the streets because you're poor, because you fucking couldn't hustle, because you're withdrawing. So you go to the hospital, and that's more money for Big Pharma because they got hook you up with IVs, do the CAT scan, what's wrong with you, here's some diarrhea pills.
The opioid epidemic is the worst health crisis Philadelphia has ever seen. On November 24, 2020, Purdue Pharma pled guilty in federal court to 3 felony charges that tied to their opioid product Oxycontin. Charges include 2 accounts of conspiracy and defrauding the United States, and violating the federal anti-kickback statute, and 1 count of dual-object conspiracy to defraud the U.S. Purdue Pharma violated the federal anti-kickback statute by paying dividends to providers for prescribing more of their opioid products. Purdue Pharma defrauded the United States by providing false data to the Drug Enforcement Agency on the amount of products it was permitted to sell. Strolling through Kensington, Philadelphia, also known as the Devil's Playground, I shook hands, sat side by side, and listened to many stories from opioid addicts of how injuries led to drug abuse. Here we have Joe John Roberts, better known as JR, who is currently battling his opioid addiction.
First time I did heroin was in RCI, Roxbury Correctional Institution, in Cumberland, Maryland. I tore my ACL playing ball. They give me motion in the crutch, you know what I mean? So my mom was a prostitute, right? Me and my brother Al, I named my son after her. We used to be her lookout while she would suck dick in the alley, go get high, nod out, and we would run around 5, 6 years old and do whatever the fuck we wanted. Mom Dukes, she took us to grandmom's, dropped us off. You know, we used to steal her weed, her liquor, all that. We was doing all that 4 or 5. First night at grandmom's house, me and my brother wilding out. Grandpa came in without the dentures on. We started clowning him for not having teeth. Like, that's the type of kids we are. We had no respect, no morals. We didn't know or have anybody to teach us the right shit in life. Everything I know now, I learned off the muscle. From Boys Village, Cheltenham Youth Facility in Baltimore. I spent a few years in there. Cheltenham, Hickey Impact. I was in Camp 5, Camp 3 up in Cumberland, Maryland, in the boot camp forestry camp systems. I've done the impact program.
Once a person uses heroin for the first time, they become instantly addicted. Their bodies then need a small dose of heroin as soon as they awaken, or they'll become dope sick.
Usually it starts out with runny nose, runny eyes. When you feel that coming, you will never have more anxiety or be so close to a panic attack in your life, because you know it's only a matter of hours before you could be either shitting yourself, throwing up on yourself. I can't tell you how many times I detoxed in prison. You can look me up, 103180 Joseph Roberts. I've been in and out the system. I've detoxed in prison 20 times probably. I probably detoxed on the couch 20 times. But the older you are, just like anything, your body don't recoup like it does when you're younger. So now when I start feeling dope sick, all consequences go out the window. I don't care if you're an old lady. I don't care if you're a young boy. Who the fuck you are. If you got what I need to get well at that very moment, I have no morals, no consequences, no regrets. And I'm going to get what I need.
Opioid addicts need drugs to accomplish everyday tasks, but in contrast, a bad batch of dope would lead to an instant death. This vicious cycle of drug use is spreading throughout the US at alarming rates.
Kick me out, throw me to another home. You got to learn these cues of people's just personalities. And at a young age, I learned that shit young. I used to sell, so I started out roofing at 19. I used to roof 15 hours a day. And then I would come home, and before I started really getting high, before I started having a real habit, I was, like I said, I worked at that nightclub as a bouncer on the weekends. It was called Dub Bar in Levittown. And that's where I met what was supposed to be my youngest son's mom, which turned out to be motherfucking Tank Top Tony's, which is somebody we call who fucks your girl when you're in prison. Turned out it wasn't my son, and I raised him for the first 2 years, so that hurt. I actually had her name tattooed here. Don't show this to my wife. She still thinks it's. I told her. So you see where the tat is? You want to see a couple prison tats? Like prison tats tell a story. You know what I mean? First tat, JR. That's with a needle and thread at 13. You know what I mean? And then I had one of my ex's names across here. You can see the letters. You can see a letter here. Like it was up on the collarbone. I got it covered up when I found out that it wasn't my kid. I tell my wife it was some racial shit. It's the only thing, you know what I mean? I told her I was used to be in a racial gang in jail. Not a gang, but I told her I was, cause I learned younger. Cause I don't like to lie to people. I got enough shit on my conscience. So that was the baby mom that did me dirty, that turned out not to be my son. And there's my actual baby mom. She's an angel. You know what I mean? Her name's Lil. And that was Lex. And I tell people I'm a real gangster because you see my tattoos got tattoos. Get it? So I suck my water up right out the joint, right? It's seltzer water, so I don't drink it. It's disgusting. I got it from a job site. I'm gonna try to keep this down because, you know, I don't promote this shit. Me and my man doing this to try to make people aware that, like, it took for a lot of people to overdose in a lot of wealthy families before the right people in the right places that actually could do shit for us realize that this shit ain't got no picks. It don't care what your color, your race, your creed, where you live at, how much money you got, whether your daddy will spoil you, whether you come from the gutters. If you get a taste of this, especially opiates, opiates are the fucking worst because it's a physical withdrawal. Like, if I went 24 to 48 hours without doing something, I'm talking about it hurts to lay down. Like it feels like somebody hit you with a taser is one of the symptoms. I call them the creepy crawlies. You literally feel like your bones are gonna come out your skin. Like my arms start jumping like this. People call it restless legs is what doctors call it. And that's the one thing, that's my main motivator. The restless legs I hate the most, man. There's nothing worse than being so tired and exhausted and you can't even sit down because your body's, it's a convulsion is really what it is. It feels like somebody, and it just happens like you just start doing, and when you see people jumping like that, it's not them just moving. It felt like electricity just ran through my body, and it does it on its own. Like there's no, it's an involuntary convulsion. Hold on, we got a cop riding by. Yeah, that's another thing. Dirty ass fucking. Look, I don't care what you do in life. You're gonna have goods and bads. You gonna have good politicians, bad politicians, good cops, bad cops. And I got set up by the Philadelphia Police Department. I got pulled over. I was coming off of Waterloo back in probably like 2008, 9. I grabbed 2 bags of D. I pull out, I stole my Uncle Lou's car. He really ain't my uncle, it was one of my mom's first Johns. He was a good dude, he took care of my mom a lot of years. And if my mom was manipulating for years, I dug my claws in him. I used to get the whip, borrow money, you know what I mean? And I don't say this shit as like I'm some cool guy. Like these are things I struggle with. I struggle with a lot of things. And that's what most drugs are about. Doing drugs isn't always about, getting high. 90% of it is self-medication. Like I suffer from, mental illnesses. I suffer from depression, post-traumatic, from all different types of shit. Like whether it's violent, this, that, like different situations. And if one thing that I learned is the hardest thing for me to deal with and for me to have any control over in life is my feelings. And when you get sober, I've been sober a lot of times. I went through Joy of Living. It was it's a halfway house in Philadelphia. They got like 100 houses. Damn, I do got a mirror. So I keep a little mirror on me because I go on my fucking shoulders. Shout out to Joy of Living too. They got some shit with them. I got my issues with them. But for the most part, they're doing a lot of good around here, man. Steph Scully. Shout out to Steph. You owe me $600 for painting that house too. Stop fronting. I was painting the house and me and my wife saved money to move out. We were living in Joy Living for like a year. I was in the middle of painting the tree house. Painted the joint for next to nothing too. And I told Steph, I got my own crib, I'm moving out. And all I had to do was paint. One more bathroom. You gotta make sure that blood's in there. See, that's why I shoot. Shooters, we chase the rush. You get a rush when I shoot, like, I'm starting to feel it right about now. Like, it literally feels like the spirit of fucking God is coming into me. Like, opiates, when it comes to depression, and I'm only sticking my dirty work in there because I don't drink this shit. I got Hep C. I found out about 2 years ago, and I can almost pinpoint where I got it from. I'll tell you what, being homeless, I tried it for about 2 weeks. I don't give a fuck what people say. I am not built for it. Yo, I'll go to war. I've been molested. I've been through a lot of situations. That too, because you know why I decided to, and look, actually, I mean, you call it homeless. It was really, I didn't want to go home. So there's really a difference. A lot of these people down here, they just don't want to go home. They got a place to go. And I'm telling you right now, I could bet you if you get an honest answer out of most of them, it's because of shame.
Hell yeah.
Like, we need to do anything and everything we can to make sure they stay special, because they're very special. And so okay, school kicked in a couple weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
So everybody that goes to Needle Park and all, that are regulars there, we all made a pact. When there's kids out and around or out of school, you don't do anything there or in front of their houses, none of that.
Yeah.
They don't need to be walking outside and seeing people hanging out somebody's arm or somebody nodded out with their head in the ground.
Hell yeah.
Like, they do not need to see that out on their front lawn. So, you know, we don't do it.
4200 Films also spoke with Daniel, a 42-year-old addict from Wilmington, Delaware.
These people gave me 120 Oxy 80s every 2 weeks. They told me the doctor said they're non-addicting, you don't withdraw from them, you don't get sick from them, they're the new magical pain pill. I'd never taken opiates or nothing before that, so I'm like, okay, well, let me try one because my leg is dying right now. I took one, all the pain was gone. I was floating. I was like, damn, this shit got me high. Oh, shit, I ain't never felt like this. Like, okay, like, I guess I could last 3 months like this. Look, before a month was up, I shit you not, I was going through them 120 80s within the first week, not 2 weeks. Then I was buying them off the streets. Now, the whole 8 years I was in Florida, I never even seen heroin, never looked at it, but down there, those Oxy 80s were only 20 bucks, right? So I ended up having to move back to Delaware because of my leg. When I did, I had one script left of the Oxy 80s and I brought it back here to get them refilled. They would not fill it for me. So I was going through it, withdrawal so bad. And my stepdad was like, well, you know, he's like, I'll run out and grab something for you real quick. I said, all right, cool. I'm thinking he's going to give me Percocet, right? He comes back 10 minutes later and I live in Wilmington, Delaware. Throws these 2 little bags on the counter, blue wax bags. He goes, there you go. I said, what the hell is that? He said, heroin. I said, touching that shit, that's for junkies. He goes, is it? You don't think them damn pills you was just taking is for junkies? I said, no. I said, they're not addicting, you don't withdraw. And he goes, what the hell you think you're going through right now? And I was like, oh shit. I was like, yo, you're right. And he goes, you ain't gotta touch him. He said, but which is crazy because my stepdad gave me heroin first ever, but he said, you ain't gotta touch him or anything. He said, but I hate seeing you like this, dude. He was like, so you can either crawl around the floor with diarrhea and, you know, all this shit, or you can do some of that. He said, just try a little bit, don't overdo it, and try and get some sleep. I hate seeing you like this. I said, I'm not touching it. So him and my mom left to go to work or whatever. 3 hours went by, and I'm like sitting out there trying to go to the bathroom back and forth, and 3 hours, when you're on the 3rd day of withdrawal, every minute feels like a whole day. They're setting it up. So by the time, yeah, by the time I was able to drag my ass out the shower in the bathtub 3 hours later, everything good now? Thanks, guys. I appreciate it a lot, all right? What the number's written on there? Yeah. Oh, I don't got a truck detail. But, yeah, so I was able to drag my ass out the shower, crawl out, and I just started sweating and throwing up again, and I drug myself out to the kitchen table. I dumped out half one of them little things, and I sniffed it up, and no shit, within 10 seconds, I not only felt better, like, it was 10 times better than the, thanks guys, than the Oxycontins that they were giving me. One of those bags of dope was like having 4 Oxy 80s, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, hold up, the Oxy 80s were $70 in Delaware for one, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, are you serious? I can get 13 of these bags for $25, and each bag is like 4 of them. Like, in my mind, I was like, I'm never gonna be sick again. I'm always gonna have it, you know what I mean? Like, I'm cool now. The little that I know, within like a month, I was doing like 4 or 5 at once, like every 2 or 3 hours, because I built my tolerance up, and getting high felt good, and like, you know, it did, that took the place of 8 medicines that rehabs and detox would give me, right? They was giving me Seroquel, Seroquel, Wellbutrin, Clonidine, what else? The whole 9, like, there's like 9 of them anyway, right? So I'm like, damn, they're giving me 9 meds. All 9 of these meds together still don't help with physical, mental, and emotional pain. But that one drug does all 3 of them right away, perfect, every time. So, why am I not allowed to have that for it? Because it's illegal and you want to call me a junkie because the doctor got me addicted to opiates? And then now, you want to fix it by putting me on methadone, which is 20 times worse than heroin, sticks to your bones, your organs, your insides. The half-life on it is almost 2 days longer, so you don't get sick as quick, but it's 20 times worse. It's it's so bad. Like, I was on 120 milligrams of methadone the first time, and I was coming down off of it. I did not sleep, no kidding, for 36 days. I laid in my mom's bathtub. That's when she was still on my side and shit, but I laid in her bathtub, throwing up, puking, shitting, all that, for almost 6 days straight. So the water would get cool, and I'd turn it off, and I'd cover up with a towel. Nobody was able to go in there and use the bathtub. They had used the stand-up shower, but they all let me stay in there for 7 days because they saw how bad the methadone was. And I just wanted to die. And I'm sitting there thinking, this is your replacement for the heroin that I could have not felt good for 3 days. But you know what I mean? Like, who's making these decisions that this is what I need and this is going to fix me? Because now it's even worse. So you got people that are living off of methadone that literally fear, like they fear for their life if they don't get their dose that day. I don't want to live like that. I do not want to live where I have to wake up and take something or I'm going to be deathly ill, right? You can't go on vacation nowhere. You can't dose nowhere. You go on vacation, what's the chances you find a dope somewhere? You can't. You can't do shit. All because it's illegal. And, you know, bad part is the government's the one bringing all this shit in. There's no way all these drugs are here in our country because 4 little Mexican smugglers brought them in on mules. No, that's not what happened. Our government's the biggest drug dealers there is. So that's my thing. That's why I want to try and help people. That's why I'm going to pull myself out of this. But like I said, my whole thing is I don't understand it because I just don't understand it because if they were to legalize it, the fentanyl, which actually, here's another thing I got about that, right? Fentanyl's not illegal, actually. It's a drug prescribed by a doctor, right? Heroin is illegal. That's an illegal drug, right? But right now, if you get caught selling fentanyl to somebody and they overdose and die, that's a murder charge. How? How is it a murder charge when it is a medication that can be prescribed by a doctor, right? So how's that a murder charge? First of all, it's not illegal. Second of all, I could go to the liquor store right now, me and you, buy 3 gallons of vodka, guzzle all 3 of them, and die from alcohol poisoning. He ain't going to jail for murder, right? We could go to the bar right now and order as many drinks as we want till we kill ourselves from alcohol poisoning. He ain't going to jail for murder. He's losing his alcohol license. So why, when people sell fentanyl to somebody that's going to get it anywhere because of how sick they are, when you find out that they find out that stand came from you, you're catching a murder charge?
According to drugabuse.gov, 85% of prisoners have drug abuse problems or drug-related charges. The National Academy of Sciences report on medication for opioid use disorder states that only 5% of people in jail or prison will receive proper medical attention.
Every way they're going about it is wrong. And then, all of a sudden, all these rehabs and detox pop up. So it goes from the pharmacy companies making all these Oxycontins, everything, nowhere to go get help or nothing. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, like, pills pop up everywhere across America. Everybody's doing them. Then everybody gets addicted to opiates. You know when that was? 2001, when we took over the oil fields and the poppy fields in Afghanistan. That's when the opiate epidemic started. Nobody thinks about that. 2001 is when we put boots on the ground over there, and we just happen to be guarding the poppy fields. That's heroin. That's opiates. For some reason, that year is when all this epidemic started. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but our government was guarding with an epidemic right now when it started. Not saying it is or it isn't, just that's something to think about, right? So it just kills me because then all of a sudden out of nowhere, where you couldn't go get help at all, there's detoxes and rehabs and methadone clinics everywhere now. So they're going from bringing it into the country, selling it, arresting people for selling it so they can have their jail business, having other people sell it and do all that so they can still keep their drugs rolling. The addicts, all, of course, we're the middle people and we keep doing it and dying and all that because we got to keep their money rolling. Then the detoxes and the rehabs and all that, that's money in their pocket again when we try to get clean and go through. So they literally made an epidemic that has gotten half the world rich and half the world dead and half the world missing parts of their family because they died from it. They don't care. They don't care that moms and dads are losing their sons and daughters over one shot. One shot. Just because their heart was broken, they didn't feel good and they was depressed. And then they turn it around and make it look like we were monsters and we did it because we wanted to get high and fuck around. No. None of us wake up in the morning and go, you know what? I want to fuck my whole life up today and die. Like, no, we don't. All of us are actually like, let's make it a good day today. Let's try and find something to get high so we're happy. Then we can keep it moving. And, you know, the couple little things that we do in our life every day that really ain't nothing, maybe we can at least get them done because we don't have much. A lot of us, all we own is what's in our book bag. And nobody cares about that.
And the K2.
It's
the
the
K2
pharmaceutical companies that start us off on it by giving you perks and all that, and then taking it from you. But yet they keep substituting one drug for another. You take the Percocets away, but now you give us methadone. Methadone is 10 times worse.
It gets your bones. You can't stop methadone. It goes in your bones and won't leave for like 4 weeks.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's in your bones. So you're stuck. When you try to stop methadone, it's worse than trying to stop heroin.
Then when you stop and you're so sick, you gotta go to the hospital because the clinics won't give it to you. You have to do intake on certain days, certain times, and if they have openings. So you can't even go to the clinic. You can't go to the streets because you're poor, because you fucking couldn't hustle, because you're withdrawing. So you go to the hospital, and that's more money for Big Pharma because they got hook you up with IVs, do the CAT scan. What's wrong with you? Here's some diarrhea pills. Like, and god dang, if you don't have insurance, you already know.
Today, we also had the pleasure of speaking with Chulo and Lena.
I feel the worst, man. Like, I hate myself for doing it, but I know I need it because I don't want to be sick. I don't want to be an asshole to my girl. I love my girl to death. But I turn into a straight asshole because my body hurts. I'm sick. I'm going hot and cold sweats. And it feels like I'm dying. And like I said, I don't want to do it, but I don't want to feel that way. That way, it feels like your skin is crawling, like your shit's jumping out of your body. And you're having hot and cold sweats, and then on top of that, like I said, you have diarrhea. What grown man wants to shit on herself?
I've been playing guitar and singing for a while. I'm not bragging or not. I just love doing it. And 2 weeks ago, some young kid brought his acoustic guitar out here. He sat down on the steps up there at the library, and I said, Ghost, he's one of my buddies. None of them even knew I could play or sing or nothing. I said, hey, you want me to go school your young boy on the guitar real quick? He said, you don't know what you're doing. I said, all right, you want me to go try at least? He said, all right. I said, all right, I'm gonna try. So I picked the guitar up and I tuned it up, and I'm a singer and a guitar player. I play songs the whole way through. I've been in bands my whole life. So I did like Down in the Hole by Alice in Chains, Patience by Guns N' Roses. I did Shaggy, Angel. I did like stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like, and I did a lot of them. Like, I did Nutshell by Alice in Chains. I did Glycerine by Bush. I did All Apologies by Nirvana. I did like a bunch of stuff like that, you know what I mean? And when I play and sing, I'm not doing it to show off and have ego like a lot of the guys do it. I close my eyes and I'm singing from my heart, you know what I mean? Well, when I started singing and playing, it was me and the kid next to me and Ghost sitting there on the step. And that was it. By the time I was done the third song and I opened my eyes, no bullshit, I had like 45 people sitting around me in a circle. Everybody in the park was sitting around me. And I opened my eyes and I was like, what y'all want to hear next? And they're all like, they're like, oh my God, that was so good. And you gonna play more? And I'm like, yeah, I'm doing this for all of us. Like, sit down, y'all. Like, y'all don't ever get to hear nothing like this. You know what I mean? Like, and I enjoy doing it. I said, so everybody sit down and chillax, and I'm gonna put on a little thing for y'all tonight just to sit back and chill and get out of your head for a minute, because we're not all pieces of shit. We all do have emotions and feelings, and we all do still enjoy stuff and love stuff. We just forget that it's there. We need something to remind us that we have hobbies that we love and we enjoy. That's why I'm doing this for you guys tonight and for myself. I said, this is my therapy. Like I said, honestly, tonight I needed this so bad Just like I haven't played guitar in like 2 weeks. I just got a brand new guitar like a month and a half ago, and my girl was sick, and I pawned it for $60, and I saved up for that guitar, and like I probably lost it now, but I don't have no guitar now or nothing. Like that's how I get out of my head, you know. Here, you take one, you take them all, just like these little cottons, and it's one of them things. Like I was telling you earlier, I pick and choose my friends, I pick and choose my battles, and I also pick and choose, you know, people that I care about, because you can also get hurt caring about somebody that isn't going to care back, and you know, that can be one of the worst things, because sometimes you pour your whole heart out to somebody because that's all you got, and when you get nothing back, that's enough to make somebody want to give up, you know? So sometimes you got to be friends to other people too that lose their other person because they need you. They might not even know they need you, but if you're there and you know it and they need you, you can save somebody's life just by sitting next to them one night and letting them talk. You ain't got to answer any questions for them or nothing, just be there for them. And not enough people do that. Sometimes I'll be sitting here for an hour trying to do this because I can't hit, because every part of my body is worn out now. And it's just sad, dude. Like, and then I'll miss or something like that and waste it, but I try not to. And sometimes I'll hit right away, but who knows? It's ridiculous. Like, the fact that we even sit here and do this is crazy, but yeah, I think it's a different spot because that's not right. I mean, it's kind of sad, I mean, really, but at the same time, it wouldn't be sad if this was prescribed to me and I could do it at home. It wouldn't be sad if this was a wonder drug that was saving my life, you know? It's only sad because people say it's sad and make it sad. I just don't get it. Something that saves me and helps me and makes me better, I'm a piece of shit because I do it because somebody said it was bad for me. Well, I don't know of any medications that are good for you, but on. See, I gotta move to a different spot. It's just, there's times where I've been sitting here for hours doing this, so sick, and I couldn't hit, and I'm in tears because I have everything I need right in front of me to get better, and I can't make it work because my body's so beat up from doing this, and that's sad too, you know, like, it's just sad. I mean, like, I always think about, like, you know, what would certain people think about me that, you know, I looked up to when I was younger and stuff, and, you know, wanted to be proud of me and think the world of me. What would they think of me right now if they saw me doing this, you know? Would they accept it because they know who I am and know I'm a loving person? Would they never talk to me again because what I'm doing is considered trashy, junky stuff? Would they feel bad for me because of where I'm at? Would they never want to talk to me again? I don't know the answer to none of them because so many people have different outlooks on it, and at the end of the day, it just seems like nobody really cares because none of them people are knocking on my door to see if I'm okay or calling my phone to see how I am, or, you know, when they do hear about me going through things like this, my phone don't ring. My mom actually told me 3 years ago, the last time she talked to me, that her and my sister and my grandmother were doing collections every Sunday at church and putting them away for my funeral because they thought I was going to overdose and die anytime now, and they didn't have money to bury me, and they didn't want me just sitting there or cremated and sitting in a graveyard with no headstone. So her church, all three of their churches were taking donations every Sunday for my funeral, and I was like, okay, Mom, you're a bullshitter and you lie a lot, so I don't even know if that's true. I don't know if you're saying that to make me feel bad or whatever, because to me that sounds kind of macabre, but I don't know anybody that's setting up and pre-gaming for their son's funeral without, I only overdosed once in my life. So I don't know if that was a cop out there trying to make me feel bad or whatever, but it just made me upset because they don't know me at all because they won't talk to me because of this. to know that me overdosing is the last thing they got to worry about. Shit, I'm just trying not to be sick half the time. I ain't got enough money to be overdosing because my tolerance is so high, you know? But in their eyes, it's, you know, I'm just a piece of shit because I chose to do this over my nephews and my family and all. And really, I didn't choose to do none of this. But I just want to be able to wake up in the morning and walk and breathe and talk like everyone else. And I can't because of my injuries. And the worst part about it all is do you know how many people say to me, yeah, right, your back don't hurt. That's just an excuse for you to get high. That hurts my feelings so bad because I have proof that I've been in all them accidents and they still say, yeah, right, you're just saying that to get high. That's sad. And when I try to explain to somebody how bad my back hurts, why I can't move or anything, and they go, you just don't want to do nothing. Really? Because people with back problems, a lot of people don't understand how bad it really is. I've been over to pick up a pencil before and got stuck. That's some fucked up shit, you know what I mean? Like, a pencil. But just like right now, like, usually I can do this in 2 seconds and it's done. But because of the last week, I couldn't afford new needles. So I used the ones with burrs and, you know, hooks and all that in it. So now my armpits are swelled up so bad that I have to sit here and fish for it. And it hurts so freaking bad, jabbing myself over and over again. And honestly, a lot of the times I miss because of it. And nothing I can do about it because I didn't have money for needles. But I had to try and get better, you know. Because I was so sick. But hang on, babe. I'm having a hard time hitting. What? I almost got it. This is just sad, you know what I mean? Look at all the blood dripping out of there. Like, the whole thing is just sad. But that's a lot of blood dripping out of there, like. A whole lot of blood dripping out of there. Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you come wipe all this blood off my hand? I need something to wipe all this off because I'm gonna get it all over me. I can't. I'm out of weight. I gotta hit this real quick because if I don't, I'm gonna waste it. I know it's just coagulating. I mean, I'll be okay with it for a second, I guess. I should be able to hit here any second because once I get this close, it's usually almost. I'll find it any second now because all that blood coming out. So it's hard for me to hit because my armpits are so swollen from hitting with them burred up, you know, tips. Now, but huh? Come on. That shit hurts. I gotta clean the thing off. But yeah, see, this is ridiculous, and this is some of the things I gotta go through just to get better. I don't feel good. Like, I'm shaking really bad. Sometimes I put it on there and it goes right in. Other times I gotta do this for a little bit, but I should be able to get it any second now, just for the simple fact that I'm right there and I'm getting all this out. But this is another thing, and you know, people are probably gonna look at this and say, I can't believe he's still sitting there sticking himself with that. That looks like it hurts so bad, but that's nothing compared to hurting from being sick. You know what I mean? So to me, this is just another thing. You know, I wipe it off. I, you know, put it in a sharper needle, and you know, now that I got the spot that it's doing that, and I put the sharper needle in, I'll probably hit pretty quick. But you know, just the fact that I have to go through all that to get to that part is just sad. Like, not cool, it's not fun, it don't tickle, but I'm sitting here doing it, you know. Can you dump a little water on this one? Okay, I need a little water on a napkin. Can you give me a fresh napkin? Oh, baby, okay. Oh, hold on, that's going on my book bag. Okay, that's good, that's going on my book bag. Thank you. Hold on, let me move my book bag. I don't want everything to get me wet. Thanks, babe. I'm good, thank you. I love you. Okay, babe, you back there for me?
How you doing?
I'm gonna get the rest of this off and do this real quick. Thank you, boo, I love you. Alright, I should be able to do this pretty quick. But yeah, this is just things that I deal with because of this, and like, you know, like I said, the last 4 days, I didn't have new needles or something, so I had to do this with dull old needles, and and now I'm paying the price, you know, sitting here not feeling good. My ears are like throbbing and burning right now just because I'm to the point where I know I should have been done already, and it's not happening. And also, when you do it in your armpit where I do it, which is the only place I can, it has to be the dark blood that comes out. If not, you're just hitting an artery, which unfortunately we do know a lot about anatomy and all that doing this, which is a good thing, I guess. But if you hit it in the vein with the bright blood, there's just a cop right there. So. Yeah. But if you hit it in the vein with the bright blood, you get out the way, cop. Then, you know, I hope you didn't make me mess that up. But yeah, if you hit it in the vein with the bright blood, it's not gonna work. You're not gonna feel it. You're not gonna get better. You're gonna waste it. It's not gonna hurt or nothing. You know what I mean? But it's an artery, so it's not gonna do nothing, which is a waste of $10, $15. You know what I mean? It's just. But of course, I know about all that. So my shorts got blood all. These shorts are 2 days old. They look like I've had them for like 42 years and went through the war with them. But the only war I've been through with them is trying not to be sick from fentanyl. And my shorts probably look worse than a lot of guys that went through Vietnam is the bad part, but it is what it is, you know. And everybody's always like I hit everybody around here in the park. I do their necks and all that because I was a professional piercer and all. Like, not like that helps, but the cops is real quick. I don't know, babe. Hold on, let me finish this real quick first. I still haven't done it, and I'm being videotaped, so I want to hurry up and finish. I don't know. I've never even seen that before. Okay, let me see if this works. Okay, one last try. But there are little nerves in there that, see, look, that's right in right now. That quick. Ain't that crazy? I did all that, and right then and there with a brand new needle, first time right away. And that's it, you know what I mean? It's just, it's crazy. I just learned that spot. I haven't been able to hit hardly at all in the last year and a half. I was missing so much, and a lot of people want you to hit them in their neck because it's such a rush and all that. And I never even heard that you could do it in your armpit. I didn't do it in my neck much because it's such a pain in the ass to do in the mirror. And this girl Bree I knew like 2 weeks ago was like, dude, if you do it in your armpit, it's really easy. And I'm like, what? I've never heard of that. You can't even see the vein. And she said, just do it in a big spot. If you can't hit a nerve, pull it off and go back. Hang on a minute. And then just make sure it's dark red blood. I said, okay. I said, okay, and I did it, and I've been hitting those spots since then, and it is literally a bigger rush than I've had from anything ever, which is crazy. I don't want people to hear that and go, oh, let me try that, because it's not safe. But yeah, it may even be worse for me, but that's how I do it. That's how I get well. It's not worth everything that I go through for it, and I want to go to detox and rehab and straighten everything out and just, you know, try to live a better, more positive life and help others along the way, because it's really sad and lonely out here. I think addicts are probably the most lonely, saddest people on the planet, and a lot of us cry ourselves to sleep at night. Nobody even knows it.
Yeah, but we're also remorseful.
And that's it. My name's JR. I'm an addict trying to get things straight. Life is worth it. Every life is precious. try to live it to the fullest and don't give up. And the other thing is with addicts, you can't tell us what to do, but we're not going to do it. I gotta have a plan to go to rehab and this and that. And if you come up to me an hour before I go and go, look, you need to go to rehab, Sesame Place, and detox. I'm not going to rehab, Sesame Place, or detox. You just told me I had to. So yeah, I want to go to detox and rehab and clean all that up. And there's changes that I need to make. And but as an addict, I need to do them in my steps and my time, and I am ready. But it's a, you know, it's not like a jump off the boat type thing, because there's a couple things I need to tie up before I go in, and that's me trying to help other friends and let them see it without telling them to or pushing them, because if you do that to an addict, they won't do it and it'll take longer. I just need them to know that they're worth something and people care about them, because then maybe when I go do it, they'll see I am worth it and I should go do it too, because I got a couple pretty cool people out here right now that I'm worried about because they don't want to live anymore and they don't want to go to detox or rehab and they just want to end shit. And I'm just trying to make them see it's worth more than that, and you know, it doesn't have to be like that. That wasn't God's plan. That wasn't God's plan. You know what I mean? He didn't do that. That's why it says don't commit suicide. That's not fair. You're taking the end of your story and cutting it short. That's not fair. Because what if the end of your story is so much greater and beautiful than this?
According to the New York Times, as of September 17, 2021, Purdue Pharma is dissolved and the Sackler family, the family behind Purdue Pharma, is to pay only $4.5 billion to settle the claims against them. And according to Forbes, the Sackler family is still worth $13 billion. By raising opioid awareness, we can help slow down national, regional, and local trends favoring drugs. If prescribed a drug, do not share your medication with others, and store your medication in a safe place away